Hey Cully, today we're going to be talking about bags, boots and beds.
Yep. What works for us?
Yep. And what's always worked for us.
Yeah.
Let's have a look, shall we? Boot choice. Now, these are my boots, and Tara's got exactly the same. And these are they're the Berg House Hill Walker to GTX 1FCH boot AM style.
I can tell you what I call them. Comfortable.
Yeah. So I tried these boots out years ago, and it was like I was walking on cloud nine. I mean, I was literally walking on a cloud, and they were wonderful. They were real good. And because I walked a lot of miles back then, I thought, with my nomadic life, you know, it goes part and parcel, right? We were walking on feet all the time.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a story as well behind this, because when we first started dating, I was getting through footwear like it was no tomorrow. I mean, literally every month it seemed I was buying new footwear.
Yeah.
And it was because I was very reluctant to spend a lot of money on footwear, because I've always stuck to a very small budget living this way. I didn't want to have to expend that sort of money on just a whim when I didn't know whether or not they were going to be any good for me. So I was spending on cheap. I was just buying cheap footwear, really.
£30 footwear, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I wouldn't. In fact, I had a limit. I wouldn't spend over 20 unless there was a really good reason, and I thought they were going to last for a bit long or something. Unless there was something exceptional, I would push it to a £30. But that was about it for me. Well, seeing how Mod's boots were working for him, I was eventually convinced. I had to give in. But they are absolutely amazing boots. We really like them. They're light.
They're really light, aren't they? They're like, I don't know, probably 500 grams, 400 gram boot. That's Tara's, obviously. You can see the size difference between the two.
I know, I've got child feet.
Yeah.
But not only are they really light for walking in, but they're also extremely durable. When was the last time we bought these?
We bought these ones probably last year, but they last us 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, roughly about 2 to 3. Yeah, I think
but that's,
maybe 2.
Yeah, that's constant on the road.
Well, we've only bought 3 pairs since we've been together.
Yeah.
It is 3, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think?
3, 6, 9. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 pairs we've bought since we've been together. So that's a huge difference to the amount of footwear I was getting through before. Sometimes I just take a little convincing with some stuff.
The thing is, I mean, it's nonsensical, really, if you think about it. You know, you've got these are £120, about that. So when Tara was spending £20 a month on boots, 20, that's 6 months. Why not buy yourselves a decent pair of boots that are going to last you for the same price of 6 months, that are going to last you 2 to 3 years, using them every day, living in them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a no-brainer for us, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I was told.
Yes.
But like I say, it's the best decision he's made for me. So.
But the funny story Tara's going on about, so before our last trek to Scotland, and believe it or not, it is 5 days again before we go. Yeah. And Tara relented, and
he said to me, listen, you're not going to get any blisters with these. The minute you put them on, they mould to your feet. They're going to be fantastic. You don't need to break them in. You do need to break them in. It's the same as with any footwear. I guess what he was meaning is casually wearing them, you wouldn't have needed to break them in. They would have just naturally have moulded to your feet. But from the day I'd got them, I stuck them on my feet, and I think that day we walked 20 miles.
22 miles.
22 miles, yeah. And the first day in them, oh wow, I was raw, really raw. I can't put it this way. As the trip went further on, there were times when I was holding back tears as I was walking. It got that painful.
It was my mistake. However, it was more on I'm male, you're female, and men, we have predominantly harder feet. Yeah.
Hobbit feet.
Hobbit feet. They're not hobbit feet.
They were made to be outdoors, these feet. Look at those. No one needs to see it, babe. You'll get your foot fetishes now.
Yeah. Show me your toenails. Some of you are weird, I tell you.
So, you're weird. Cringy.
We've been painting and decorating, so I've used an old pair of borrowed trousers.
Yeah, we've got a lot of painting and decorating going on at the moment.
Yep.
Christ, we're literally painting one room, moving on to the next, paint the next room, paint the next, come back to that one, paint that again, paint this again. It's a lot of painting going on.
Sand fill, paint fill. Anyway, moving on.
So moving on from the boots, now we do prepare the boots, as Mod's mentioned, sometimes we do prepping for
we do some self-care. Now what I've usually, sorry I didn't mean to cut you off there,
right.
my sweetheart. Usually what I use as I go to is caps wax. That's pretty good. You can use brown boot polish, black boot polish if you want them to go slightly black, or Vaseline. Vaseline is another good
we've
one.
pulled that one off. I mean, it's not ideal because I think there's something to do with the petroleum. It can
because it's
eventually hurt the leather or something. I've heard.
Yeah.
But the point is it's a quick fix.
It's a quick fix. If you've got I've got like a little bit of cracking on there. If I just put a little bit of Vaseline over that bit. It's just enough protection for a day's journey.
It gets you through it.
Yeah, until you can start to treat them again, sort of thing.
But that's about all that we prepare really when we're getting ready to go on the march, because we're not really ones for mapping or.
No.
We have a rough target and we just go, maybe we'll visit that, maybe we'll visit this.
We'll go this way or we'll go that way.
Sometimes that doesn't even pan out because you end up getting distracted by other things that are better. So we'll just see how the adventure turns out. But moving on from the boots then. As we've covered that. Now we are really into these bags. These are the only bags we would ever get, and if ever we couldn't get hold of them, I think we're going to have a little bit of a problem trying to find anything that's going to match these bags really for us. So this is I don't know if you can still make out the writing on it. It's I've had this bag a long time. I'm going to explain this.
It's a Black Hawk
hydration bag.
Titan, isn't it?
I think so. It just says on the front though, it just says Black Hawk Hydration.
Yeah.
So I think it's something like a Titan or something. I think when we was looking into getting your one.
Leave a link in the description.
Yeah, we'll do that. But the reason we've gone for this bag is when I first started this adventure, I used a lot of hiking backpacks. I got through about 3 of them in my first 6 months. It was that they're not the most durable. They're okay for a weekend or a week away. But I find that when things break and snap, it's really hard to fix it.
To customise them as well, isn't it?
And the stitching is really weak on them.
Yeah.
So, not to mention the zips as well. But anyhow, this bag, believe it or not, has been outside with me for 10 years, over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Over 10 years. And it's perfectly fine. I haven't really had to do anything. The zips are still good on it. It's still nice and strong. The stitching's still all good on there. Nothing's pulling apart. It's a win for me. First of all, it's durability. Over 10 years to be outside in all weathers. You've got to think frost, rain, the baking heats that we get in the middle of the summer. I mean, not that we're a baking hot country, but it hit the peak of summer.
Still gets to 38 in the UK.
Yeah, not to mention it didn't fade too bad over the years.
I mean, it wasn't green though, was it?
No, it's always been khaki.
Yeah, but there you go then, still khaki.
Yeah, and when you look on the inside, you can see that it's really not faded much at all.
No.
If you look at that compared to the top on the outside.
That's great wear.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain, right?
No.
But the other reason I really like this bag is because when you're packing a bag and you get these stuff bags and you're stuffing things in all the time.
So if you look at our Forces 90s gear and our 2000 gear, it's all top fed.
Yeah, you have to feed it all in, and then you'll often find, like, despite them having zips on the bottom where you can get in like this by opening, let me find it, by opening up the bottom one.
Yeah.
So you can pop your hand in there and get stuff. But the problem that I found with that kind of setup when you're stuffing them is that it just made it awkward, because you've got to really remember where everything is in that bag. And as you've been walking, things can move around, and where you think you've put something, it's no longer there, it's moved somewhere else. But this bag properly opens up.
Opens all the way up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit more like a suitcase effect, if you like.
Well, yeah, you're saying about the suitcase effect. So even on the inside here, when Tara says about the suitcase effect, you've got clips to basically keep in like your most important gear that you don't want moving around. You can actually tighten these up, and they go across as well.
Yeah,
so
it keeps it all in there.
Yeah, I mean you Americans, yeah, you sorted your You sorted your kit right.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah.
this is I love it. I just love this bag for all sorts of reasons, really. And I have broken a couple of clips. Well, some of these things here. And what I've done, I can't even remember. Oh, that was it. I used, because this had rocket pouches on it. And so what I'd done is I took the clip off the rocket pouch and just replaced it on this. The great thing about the army stuff is that it's often fixable on site. They often make their bags and that, so if there's something that's gone wrong with them, of course they need their troops to be able to fix that themselves on site. You can't you can't phone in and say, I need a new bag when you're on tour, right? So the great thing about using the military bags is that you can often fix them with what they've got on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the bag choice.
I mean, also, like, I'm just looking at the zips because I've never really properly studied my bag. And these zips on here, I think they're YKK.
They're great, aren't they?
I don't think they're YKK. Whatever YKK means, let us know down below. But basically, you can pop up that. You can pop up that bit there, and then you can actually start to change your zip and your tassels and everything else. And you can customize even the smallest of things with different zip tags, you know, all sorts of things like that. It is just so versatile for what we need as nomads. Yeah. It is, isn't it?
And of course, with it only being, I think it's a 50 litre, isn't it?
I think it's 60. I'm not sure. 50
to 60 litre, let's just say, right? But a lot of the other bags that Mod started off with were quite a bit bigger.
I had 110 litres.
Yeah. And what we found is the bigger your bag is, the more you're going to put in there.
You will.
You just do it because you go, oh, I've got room. So But what you're not thinking is while you're busy putting more and more stuff in just because you've got room, you're adding more and more weight.
Yeah.
So by having a smaller bag, you're limited to how much you can put in weight-wise, right? So especially when you're making sure all your kit is lightweight anyway, once you've filled this bag, if there's any more space in it, it's very limited. So it forces you to keep your weight low.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when we're getting food, sometimes it's a case of, because usually I carry the food because Mod carries the bigger pots.
Bigger pots, battery packs and stuff like that,
things
the heaviest.
Like that. Yeah, so I'm happy to carry the food. Also, like, as I'm a female, whilst we're walking along each day, my bag is getting lighter and lighter until we refill.
Mine stays the same weight.
And yeah, if mine gets heavy, it only tends to be for a day. But then even then, if there's sometimes I can't fit something in here, I'll just get a carry bag and attach it to the side or something, or attach it to the top.
Or put it in a dry bag just so you haven't got that shine and that rattly or whatever,
Yeah. But so that's our
brilliant bags.
Backpack bag choice. Again, I wouldn't choose anything else.
No, I wouldn't now. I mean, years of trying out different bags. I had my 110 litre, I had a different webbing setup, I had another 30 litre bag. At one point, I had my sleeping bag on the bottom that was open to the elements, although we'll get into that in a minute. But I had a hammock, so I didn't have a need for a tent. I was a solo person at the time, so I didn't need all this extra gear that I thought that I would need as a couple, if that makes sense. So it was a real big eye-opener when I always had all my big bags and all my gear, because I got addicted. My bag needs to look right. It can't look slaggy and crappy on your back, although it's not a fashion show. So, and it was always, oh, it's all right, babe, I've got the space in that bag, I'll put it in here.
Again, though, you was having strap problems.
The straps on the British Forces bags, they're so hard. They cut in. They do cut into your collarbone. They do cut into your back.
He tried all sorts of things, padding them out as well, to see if he could relieve some of the pain that he was getting in his shoulders. Yeah. But I don't think you've had any problems with these straps.
I've never had a problem with this Black Hawk ever.
No.
No.
No, they are quite hard to find, we've discovered. I don't think they're in actual production anymore.
eBay is the only place I can think of. I tried looking on Black Hawk themselves.
But again, they don't do it anymore, do they?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. Let us know what you find.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do them and circulate them in America and just not in the UK. I don't know. So if you know, then
I
yeah,
mean,
by all means, let us know.
Yeah, once we've got the bags, we don't need to look anymore. So
That's it, you know. I mean, 10 years in, and this bag's perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, Mods is only a few years old now, isn't it? 'Cause it took some convincing.
yeah, nearly 3 years old this year.
So when we look at his bag compared to mine, they are, apart from the materials, a little bit more stained on mine because
Yeah.
his is black.
And I'm absolutely brutal with zips.
Oh, jeez.
I'm only human, and sometimes I will get pissy.
The bonus is he can fix any zip.
Yep.
He is like the zip king. And I kid you not.
No, I'm the Nomad King. Get it right.
Nomad king. King of the Nomads.
King of the Nomads.
There's only two of us.
Yeah, well, King and Queen of the Nomads. It's coined here. You heard it here first. But I'm brutal with zips, and the reason I'm so good at fixing zips is because I'm so good at breaking them.
Yeah.
But on this Black Hawk bag, I have not broken it yet.
No.
And I've had some real bad moments, and I've stamped on it, and I've pushed my gear in. You will go in.
It's got the ump with it and kicked it about a bit.
But I'll tell you what, it is the best bag I've ever had. I'll tell you what, I had one when I was younger. I was probably about 13 years old, and it was an old rucksack, similar size, but top fed. And it was brilliant. And I took it fishing with me a lot. I left a load of bait in there, and my dad found it 2 months later in the scorching sunshine. Yeah, but because it was waterproof, it had filled up with water and maggots.
Oh, no.
But that was my best bag back then, and
You
now
really should have put a disclaimer there.
visual imagery. I don't need a disclaimer. But since then, so nearly 30 years. Yeah, this bag's the best.
Yeah,
It's
it really
awesome.
is, yeah.
So thanks, babe.
No, it's all right. You convinced
Somebody
me
who's-
with the boots. I convinced you with the bag.
Yeah, somebody who's not ex-forces telling me what bag I need, right?
Telling you need this X-Force bag.
Yeah, but it's well worth it. Well worth it. Pricey, but worth it really well.
Right, well, I
So-
guess the next thing in.
Yeah, our bags. What do we actually sleep in?
Yeah.
So my bag is no longer in circulation. However, you might be able to get it for a Norwegian company or a German company, possibly I was looking at the other day. It's called the Corinthia. No. What's it called? Now I have the Wilser Grand Nord Mark II. I think mine's the 185. It could be the 210. It could be something like that. But it used to be waterproof, front and back. So that's the back, and this is the front. So you've got this soft shell on the front, and then you've got like a hard shell treated, semi-hard shell treated on the back. The zip, here we go. I get pissy with my zip sometimes, so yes, the zip has broken several times, but still works, still effective. It pulled me back about, I don't know, I think it was about 150 quid, something like that. But I've had it about 7 years now, and it's been perfect. It's been perfect. Now, I didn't choose a 4 season sleeping bag because, well, actually, do you know what? We'll explain that after you've done yours.
Yeah, yeah. So, whereas yours is more military, I guess, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, mine's just a bog standard synthetic bag, but it's not because I'm reluctant to have a synthetic one or anything. It's not that I'm reluctant to get the military one as such. It's just that I find, for example, for me,
Yeah, I know.
this is something I don't like about his bag is the
inside.
Yeah, is the same material as the outside-ish. You know,
Yeah.
it's this cold stuff. And I can't get comfortable with that. If it touches my face, I get really annoyed with it. So I've just got... So I've just got one of these. It's just it's a softer material inside, so it's nicer. It's nicer to put your face against, put it that way when it's a cold night. But again, it's just a 3 season, I believe, is it? Yeah, 350 Echo. We found that if you 300s is 3 season, isn't it? They go up, go down, whatever.
Yeah. We think.
But mine says here that its upper limit is 6 Celsius, its comfort zone is -5, and its limit is -12. Now, as you'll know, if you've got any more, if you've seen any other reviews on bags, sleeping bags, you'll know that these things are, let's just say, often...
They lie.
Well, they're over-optimistic, shall we say. That's a polite way of putting it, isn't it?
For a real world.
Yeah, for the real world. Although, saying that, I did go to -12 in...
You have gone to -12 in this. You've gone to -15 in this bag, and...
But the difference is that, of course, when I'm in this bag, I'm wearing my thermals. I've got my thermal socks on. I'm also wearing a woolly hat and a scarf. And I get some people think, oh, how can you sleep like that all the time? Because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
Both of our bags are 3-season. Now, why do we choose 3-season? Well, we don't want a 4-season because we live this life 24/7. So in the summer...
You'd have to change it.
You're going to either have to change it or just bake.
Yeah.
And any of you that know, you know, when you've been camping or on the road or anything like that, the minute that sun comes up, you start to sweat. It starts
you've got to get straight out,
super hot.
straight out of the tent. Yeah.
Yep. Now, so that's one of the reasons, but also we choose synthetic because if our bags were to get wet, they did the other night when our tent broke. It's with a duck down or a goose down or anything like that, they take a lot longer to dry out, and it's all about the fluff. You've got to fluff them up to get that heated quality out of it, haven't you?
Yeah, we find that the synthetic is just a bit more forgiving,
Yeah.
you know, and also the duck stuff, when it gets wet, it sort of holds onto the wet more, I find. This, because inside it's a little, well, it's like what they stuff teddy bears with. It's sort of, it doesn't hold onto the water in the same way.
No.
You know, so it just doesn't feel as wet and cold on the inside of the bag.
And obviously the weight. The weight is...
There's another thing about
you know,
weight.
it's a lot of weight to carry, especially if you've got feathers. And it's that old saying, isn't it? What's heavier, a ton of bricks or a ton of feathers? Well, a ton of bricks because it's all together, but it's still a ton. And you think all feathers are going to be light, but once you compact them into the bag...
Not to mention, one thing I really hate about feathered things is when you get the little pricks coming through and, you know, no thank you.
You wake up with a feather here, feather there, feather here.
Of course, another good reason for having the 3-season is that when you are packing it down and putting it in your stuff bag, it's the volume of it is big enough as it is. I mean, you're talking about this, we can get them quite...
Yeah, we can get them very small.
We've got a lot of practice in it though. So, but we can get them quite small to about this sort of size, you know. And but if it was a 4-season, the capacity of that would be a lot bigger, and it would probably be a similar sort of size as our actual bags. And then you can't put it in your bag. You're going to have to attach it somewhere on the outside. The only reason we really don't like attaching our sleeping bags on the outside is because if you do get a downpour, I mean, unless you've got a really, really good waterproof thing, you're risking your bag getting wet, and that's the worst thing you can do, especially living this way, because if you've been walking all day and you're getting wet and then suddenly you put your tent up, you finally get in, your sleeping bag's soaked, it's going to ruin your entire night.
I brought a what was it? It was it's actually made by these.
Yeah.
I bought a I actually bought a waterproof cover for my bag, didn't I? Once it's rolled up and compact to put it in. And I thought, do you know what? It was a big brand, so I'm not going to mention them. But I put it on the outside of my bag. Downpour came, and I went, it's all right. My bag's waterproof.
Yeah.
I got it out that night. We were in a new location. I think we were down in Wales towards Neath way. And my bag was wet. I was wet, my bag was wet, my stuff was wet. I thought, I need to put it all back inside my bag and stick to what I know our system works.
Yeah.
And I can't rely on other bits of equipment necessarily unless it's proved, tested by us, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's it wasn't a good couple of days for me, to say the least.
No. And now a lot of people ask us, are you seriously just sleeping on those crate mats?
Yes.
Yes. It's all you need.
That's all.
In fact, we don't even have an entire crate mat each.
No.
We've got one that we cut in half, and we have half of it each.
That's the brown side, silver side.
Now, the reason why we only need these is because they're good enough to stop any cold coming through. We don't get any cold through these.
No.
I know that people might find that hard to believe because they're just a little thin crate mat. But in an inflatable one, this is the problem you got, particularly living this way. In an sorry, I'm all wobbly. In an inflatable one, especially living this way, this is a problem that you're going to have. You're going to have it being a deflatable mattress.
Yes.
It's not an inflatable mattress when you're living in it, trust me.
No.
They are going to deflate. And then the other issue that I have with the air in them is that heat rises and people say, well, yeah, you can get the warm. No, you're not really getting warm air because you're putting that air mat on a cold floor.
Yeah.
So you've now got the cold air, the air is cooling from the bottom and you're trying to warm it from the top. Now, the minute you move and roll over, that air's moving inside that mat. So it doesn't, to me, get as warm as what these do. These do actually keep the cold off you. So,
I mean, my argument with that is why did the military just have roll mats?
yeah, they had it for a reason because they're not going to muck about trying to patch up there. And there's that, yeah, and there's that. And I've seen also some people will use the mats that we've got and then they'll put a blow up mat on top of it or do it the other way around. Again, you're just creating yourself more weight. It's not really necessary because these things work fine. I guess it's for some people, they don't like to have to lay on the contours of the floor. But the difference with us is where we've been living this way for 10 years, if we get a dead flat surface, we have an uncomfortable night. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
The craziness of it is I mean, obviously you don't want lumps and but you kind of smooth it out a little bit, but having the odd contour on the floor, it's for us. It's, oh look, I've got a hip dip. Oh, I can move this way. Oh, I can move. For some reason,
yeah.
If you give us a flat surface, our brain knows we're not in the right place.
Yeah.
And we just keep waking up.
Yeah. I mean, here you go. This is what we mean by the mats. Because the mat only goes to here, and my head ends up there. It's a bit of a mess.
I didn't go that far.
When I lay down like this, I'm laid down on my pillow and my legs are over that. You know, I don't need the extra on my legs.
You find that the bottoms of your legs don't really notice it. It's your core. If you keep your core warm, your legs don't really notice it. I mean, we've never had a thing with it.
I mean, the body is designed that when you start to shiver and when you get cold, it will pull away from all those extremities, fingers, hands, feet, toes. It will pull away from those extremities and into your core, your center of your body, and it will keep you warm. So the only thing for us as nomads is to keep the core warm. That's your engine, that's your motor.
Yeah.
And when
it's a weight thing as well, and the bulk thing. You know, why bother with excess stuff when we don't actually need it? All we need is these.
I mean, these mats, once they're full, you can't go like that with them. You know, if we look at Tara's head, you can't go like that because they're just too big. But
Put it
however,
this way, this is what we mean by too big. I mean, that one mat that Mod's got, I've got the half of it.
Yeah.
So that's how long they all are when you buy them.
So what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 14 zigzags.
14 folds.
14 folds on a full Thermarest Thermarest Z-Lite mat.
So I would advise, if you are thinking of getting one, buy one, and then you've got
Chop it in half.
Yeah, keep half safe. So when your first one wears down, you've got your.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cheaper way of doing it as well because they're not exactly that cheap.
I think they're about £37 on Amazon, something like that.
Yeah.
But they're not overly expensive and they're not silly cheap. They do the job really, really well. And if you are a solo camper, chop it in half, and you haven't got to pay twice the amount of money. You know, you haven't got to pay twice the amount of money, and you're not going to lose comfort. Yeah, you might do a little bit on your legs, but
I want to share another reason of why it's also another bonus of having the bag and the setups that we have. So another little added bonus, I guess, of having the setup that we do with, i.e. the bags, the backpack bags and the sleeping bag setup situation, is when it's all packed up, because the sleeping bag is on the inside of our military bag and the only thing on the outside is the sleep mat, and you're walking around with a military bag on your back, you don't look like one of these typical backpackers.
No.
So we find that where typical backpackers with all their brightly coloured tool bags on their backs and all of their kit, their sleeping
Flags,
bags,
fluorescent gear, and
sleeping bags on the outside, sleeping mats on the outside, pots and pans banging away as they're walking down the street. We find that we get a better reception than those sorts of people do.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because we don't look like the typical backpackers.
we're low profile. We tend to blend in a little bit better.
Yeah. And if not blending in a little bit better, we look more outdoorsy, I guess. So people, it gives the impression, let's just say, I think it's giving people the impression that, I mean, we've had it said before, oh, you look like you would take care of the land. You don't look like you would be sort to litter and things like that. Well, why do we look like that sort? Why? Is it because we look really outdoorsy because of the way the setup that we have? Possibly.
It's because we're old and rattled and we're like little witches that live out in the woods. Yeah.
With your hobbit feet.
With my hobbit feet and everything else. You just can't make that stuff up. Haters gonna hate, right?
Oh well, that's whatever. It's all good fun.
Yeah.
But so just so everyone can understand that the dog is not in a bad situation either.
He's got. This is the dog's bed. He's got his own little blankie. Now, anyone that takes the mick, you're gonna have hell to pay. He's got a dinosaur blankie. All right. Yes, he likes his little home comforts sort of thing. And he's got his own mat, exactly the same as ours. As you can see the old cut line there as well. So yes, he has his bed, his blankie, and everything he likes for him.
He's taken care of. And he also has his own backpack. Now, I'm not going to get into getting his backpack out because
you can see it in one of our first videos,
it's empty
second
at the
videos.
moment, and it just looks a little bit flaccid when it's empty. But if you want to see it, check out one of the first videos that we've got, and you can see him running around in it.
Yeah, the audio's crap, but you can see the dog running around and
in fact,
enjoying
I think
himself.
he stacks it, doesn't he? He's at one point, he's running across some mounds, and
he
falls
slips down a hole.
He stacks it.
Yeah. We have had questions as well. What is your dog's name? As we keep repeatedly saying, his name's Dog.
It's just Dog.
And he's a service aide for me. He's a service dog.
He's not the star of the show.
Not the star of the show.
He's not going to ever be the star of the show.
No.
If you want a pet channel, there's loads of pet channels out there.
Loads of really good channels out there, but not here. We're Nomads. Also, not to mention, if you've got a bit of kit that you wouldn't do without, that you can't get rid of and that you've always gone to, leave a comment and we can all have a chat about it and see what we think, can't we?
Yeah, everyone has their
go-to gear.
Right? Yeah, and their thing, and they're one of the things that they go, right, well, I would never change that. That's the one thing I'm sticking to from now on. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the differences are, what people are into.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll leave links for the stuff that we have in our description below.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we'd like to say thank you to all you lot. You're absolutely brilliant. You're awesome, aren't they? And it's really appreciated. They might get the odd hater going, oh, you're begging. We've never begged. We've never asked you for it. That's what kind, decent people you are out there. And
well, it's supporting, isn't it?
It's so supportive, yeah.
And let's face it, lots of other channels have got the same thing going on.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you've taken the time to support us, either by watching, liking, subscribing.
Yeah. Just watching the videos is a great way of supporting us.
It has been brilliant, and as you can appreciate, it takes a lot of time and effort to make videos, but we'll still keep making. And thanks again, really appreciated.
Yeah. Now, do keep your eye out for the night vision goggle review. We have had to have a little bit of email correspondence, so it's kind of on hold at the moment until we get a response back.
Having a few hiccups. It's tech, isn't it?
I mean,
it's
we'll
tech.
go into it later down the line, but we'll give you a bit more information around that. But hopefully they'll get back to us and we can get this review done.
Yep, yeah, definitely. And if you're new here or you're a returning viewer, please consider watching some of our other videos. That really does help, and it will answer a lot of your questions. We do get a lot of questions asked, and
we prefer to direct you to the videos anyway. If you're asking a question that we've already answered in a video, typically we're just going to direct you to the video rather than answer the question, because first of all, by pushing you to that video, it helps us.
Yeah, it does help us
the channel.
out.
So,
and it's another way you guys support us, you know, just from the views. So it's all really appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that review. It is coming up. Maybe it depends what the email correspondence is like.
Yeah.
And
but we do have another set of.
We do have another pair.
Yeah. So either way, something will be coming soon.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, Callie, thank you ever so much for today. It's been really appreciated. If you are returning, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help us too.
And give us a thumbs up, eh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Anyway, Callie, happy hopping.